Hello. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Show and Tell. Thank you for being here. Save your applause, please. Much more exciting people than myself tonight. So, my name is Heather. I'm the community engagement person at the Confluencenter, and we're real happy to have you here tonight. It's happy hour until 7, so take advantage of that. And then Geeks Who Drink will be starting at 7:45 after this presentation, so you can sign up outside until. And we want to give a huge thank you to Playground for hosting us here every month. Just a quick reminder, Valentine's Day, this Saturday at 11 a.m. Join us at the bookstore at the University of Arizona for creative collaborations with Dr. Paula Pham on piano and psychology professor David Zavara talking about the psychology and science of love. There'll be some music with that presentation as well. So 11 a.m. at the Student Union Bookstore on Saturday. And without any further ado, here's our director, Dr. Javier Duran.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Wow, nice. Okay, the spotlight. Again, my thanks to Playground, who has been our home away from home downtown, and they do an excellent job hosting us here once a month, every second Wednesday of every month. And I also want to thank the team that makes this possible, which is the Confluencenter team. Lisa, back there, Jamie with the camera right here, Heather, who you met, Maggie is back in the control panel, and Daniel sitting back there always helps us. Am I missing somebody? Anyway, I want to applause for them because they make this happen. It's the best thing on campus is their work. So it is my pleasure to welcome today Dr. Bryan Carter, and he received his Ph.D. at the University of Missouri Columbia, and is an assistant professor of Africana Studies at the U of A, specializing in African American literature of the 20th century with a primary focus on the Harlem Renaissance and a secondary emphasis on digital culture. He has published numerous articles on his doctoral project, Virtual Harlem, and has presented at locations around the world. His research focuses on advanced visualization and how sustained and varied digital communication affects student retention and engagement in literature courses taught both online and face-to-face. And he's also a member of the Confluence Center Advisory Board and one of our most active and engaged faculty members on campus as we speak. And it is really an honor and a pleasure to welcome him and recognize his work and his pioneering view of how to teach online and how to engage technology while still working with human beings, our students. He's an excellent professor, an excellent teacher, and also we welcome his students here today. He will talk more about that. But please, Bryan, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Professor Duran, for the opportunity to do this. I love doing this stuff. So, hello everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. Thank you for coming out this evening, and I hope that what we show you will be both enlightening, interesting, and perhaps even make you want to go out there and create some augments of your own. Unfortunately, we're going to have to skip sort of one part of our presentation because I lost a cable. Unless a geek out there has a Thunderbolt to VGA cable with him, I know that might happen, so I just wanted to put that call out there. And if you do, see the technician in the back, please. Okay, anyway, as Professor Duran described, I study not only African American literature of the 20th century, which includes, of course, the Jazz Age, but I also study something called digital humanities. And that's exactly what Professor Duran said. It's a combination of the digital and the human. It's how we as professors incorporate various forms of technology into our classes so that we can capture the imagination, the attention, as well as the curiosity and the creativity of our students. And it's also how students can use these technologies in order to express their understanding of course content. So what we're doing here is we're really combining that, and we as digital humanist professors, we get a chance to play with all these cool tools, and it's so much fun designing these courses. What I'm going to show you here, and let's get into this first slide here, is how I augmented and encouraged students to do some creative projects for a class that I taught called African Americans in Paris, when African Americans came to Paris more specifically. And it is one that, of course, studied the African American expatriate presence in Paris, France during the 1920s, just after World War I, when jazz was introduced there, and when cabarets were open all night long, and when people didn't even go out until 2 in the morning, and of course ate breakfast at 10 at all these wonderful places. Well, in teaching my students about that really little known tidbit of African American history and culture, I wanted them to later on be able to experience that. So my department chair, Professor Durand, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, encouraged me to create a class called When African Americans Came to Paris, where the highlight of that class was actually a trip to Paris, where we could experience all those things that we've been studying all semester long. So 2 years ago, we debuted this class, and it was a very, very remarkable success. We took 9 students with us, and we had an amazing time. Just this past year, we took 15 students with us. And some of those students are here with us tonight. We're going to hear from them with regards to their experience and a couple of the projects that they worked on. But we got a chance to experience Black Paris. We got a chance to go to some places that where jazz was played, where indigenous culture museums are located. We got a chance to visit a place called Little Africa and taste some of the foods in the Mombasa area. We really experienced that which many of them experienced during the 1920s jazz age. What I wanted my students to be able to do was use an innovative technology in order to pass that experience on in some respects to those visitors who may go to those respective sites and visit them later on. Augmented reality is one of those technologies that we use. Now, for those that have never heard of this, and if you have a smartphone, you can actually experience augmented reality by just downloading one of many applications that allow you to see information augmented on top of the real world when you're looking through the viewfinder of your mobile device. And when running that application and you point that device at something that has been augmented, you then get a chance to see that additional information. You are all already familiar with augmented reality because if you watch sports and you see the line of scrimmage moving or you see the path of a player, that's augmented reality. If you got one of these really nice cars that has a heads-up display and you can see the maps and everything on the windshield, that's augmented reality. Now, augmented reality can be created in one of 2 ways. You either have trigger-based augmented reality, which is where when you point your device at a trigger, some sort of symbol or an image, it triggers the augment, whatever that might happen to be. That augment can be video, audio, text, links to websites, even interactive things like Twitter or Facebook. Okay, it can be any of those things. It can also then be geolocated, which basically means that if you are looking at a map on your mobile device, you will then see augments all in front of you. And if you click on one, you will then not only get directions to it, but you'll also get the additional information that the owner of that establishment may have placed on that augment. Okay? Next slide, please. All right, so let's take a look at this, and hopefully this video will play here, and we'll get a chance to get a bit more information about augmented reality. Let's see what happens.
Imagine that we were the hottest restaurant in town, all in seconds, and we can today with the magic of augmented reality.
Augmented reality is the ability to insert and overlay digital and virtual information into the real world.
Track Lord is the Marketing and Media Relations Manager for Matayo, the worldwide leader in augmented reality technology. Their mobile application, Janayo, is an augmented reality browser that allows the user to see the world in a whole new way.
You need to be able to recognize things and see things and immediately get information from them using your smartphone. Imagine the ability to browse life like we browse the web.
It might seem revolutionary, but the technology started in 1962 when cinematographer Morton Healy created the Sensorama, a simulator with visuals, sound, vibration, and smell. But augmented reality's first real-world application was the heads-up display in fighter jets. Symbols are projected onto a transparent glass screen, which takes away the distraction of looking at gauges and allows pilots to aim their weapons better. Heads-up displays are now starting to appear in cars. BMW is one of the pioneers.
The basic principle is it displays all the information such as speed, navigation. It projects it from a console on the dashboard onto the glass. Only the driver can see this.
Augmented reality will ease activities such as travel and shopping, and can even be applied to medicine and education.
Let's stop it right there, please.
With the technology's rapid development, its potential is endless.
It's
It's very, very popular. It's a marketing medium, basically. It's a way to sort of drive people to advertising. It's retained as engagement.
Many brands have adopted this new marketing strategy, including IKEA.
2006 new catalog came with an augmented reality application designed to recognize various.
Let's get to the next slide. Alright, yeah, the sense around it sounds like something crazy, doesn't it? Okay, so augmented reality in its most extensive form, of course, can be very expensive to create, you can imagine. However, of course, as the advances in technology have improved and given us greater capabilities, companies such as these have created augmented reality creation tools that allow average individuals like myself and even my students to create really cool augments on top of the real world. Applications such as Layer, which unfortunately we're not using this year because they incorporated a pricing structure. We used Daiquiri. It's fantastic. We'll talk about it here in just a moment. Arousmo, Wikitude, Shimmer, and even one called Traces. And if any of you want to actually see a real-life augment that I placed here not too long ago, if you pull up the application called Traces, traces.io, you can download it for your iOS device. I don't work for this company. And when you install it and run it, you'll see a trace floating right here in the middle of this room, and here's some audio. So it's really a cool way that you can send messages to people. You can augment the world in some very interesting ways. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so the course. When African Americans came to Paris, AFAS 421, for those of you that are interested in taking it next fall, as well as AFAS 499, which is an independent study course which actually takes students to Paris, okay? Now this course is one that students meet twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then the 499 independent study course is where we then learn the technology that we used when we went to Paris, okay? So the augmented reality application, and then the students also put together a really cool digital story that you guys are going to see a little bit of here in just a little bit. Okay, next slide. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the student projects, and what I'd like to have them do is introduce themselves. You guys don't have to speak up, please, and then talk a little bit about your experience in Paris, and then tell us about the project that you did. Now, what we're going to have to do is, since I don't have one of those cables, none of the geeks came forward with their stash of cables, so what we're going to have to do is, we have a couple of iPads here, and we're going to come around to the different tables, and the students that have the Daiquiri application installed on their mobile device, they're going to show each table and the individuals around what we can't show you up here, okay? So I'll have the students come up and talk about their experience, describe their project, and then we'll go on.
Okay, so I guess we're going to introduce ourselves first and then we'll talk about our experience. My name is Michelle Myers. I'm a senior at the U of A. I'm a physio major and minoring in Africana studies.
Hello, my name is Jamil Marshall, double major at University of Arizona, of course.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Francisco Valenzuela, and I actually graduated from the U of A in December. So that's easy, I'll tell you that. Not easy. Yeah, I'm here to help support, even though I've graduated already, I come to support Dr. Carter and everyone wants to advance, because I tend to be helping my life in this work. So I do what I can to help in any way possible.
Okay, so just to talk a little bit about like the trip to Paris and then the preparation. With Dr. Carter, with specific previously with the 499, we would meet every Friday, learn about the different apps, such as Zachary, and how to do the augments and how to like take a trigger image, which I have some trigger images on my iPad, so I'll go around and like show you how the app works. And like we did green screen videos, and then that's in my augment specifically, so I'll go around and show you that. But while in Paris, it was my first time outside the country, so it was a great opportunity for me getting to see the culture. But in addition to that, just getting to see the impact that Black writers, musicians, and artists had in Paris was just such an eye-opening experience for me. One of the best experiences that I've had, for sure.
Yes, it was my first time going to Paris as well. I didn't do a project on like the augmented app. I used the digital online app you can go to. It's called TAC. Yeah, it was TAC. We had a couple of them to choose from. But I chose TAC, and I focused my project on. It was like we learned a lot about art and poets. My favorite poet was Winston Hughes. We got to go to some of the coffee shops he went to, some of the places he stayed while he was down there. Even Brick Top was one of the books that we read in class, and I guess he worked there back in the kitchen and stuff like that. And I didn't know that about like my favorite poet and stuff. So a lot of that stuff was interesting to see where he lived, where he walked, and all that. And one of the augments that I guess I didn't do enough work to put together. I tried to reenact like being him, but it was a lot of work. I'm not as smart as Michelle, so I took the easy way out. But
when you look at my augments, you will see that he is one of the actors in it. So I use his video.
But yeah, like I heard myself, this is my first time being out of the country. I've been like going to Mexico. I went to Mexico City the semester before, but I went to like I can't say the names right, so don't laugh. But like we went to like the Louvre, how you say the Louvre Museum and stuff.
The Louvre.
You guys know exactly what I mean. And we like you said, Lamar was a little Africa. A lot of places where it was like, I don't want to say segregated because that's not how it was. It wasn't segregated, but there was a difference between not necessarily race, but socioeconomic status. Like you could see, like a person who had money, their race would set them apart. You can see an African American person. I don't want to call them African American. They're French. Sorry, they're French. Excuse me. They're French, but in all. Like, you can go to one part of the neighborhood and it would look like the same part as another part, but you wouldn't see like, all right, we are in America, so it might seem a little disrespectful, but like, you can go to certain cities in America and like, it will be predominantly one color. And then you can go to another part of that same state and it will be predominantly one color. Well, when we went there, I didn't quite see that. I've seen a lot of diversity and I felt like that was one of the most interesting things that like sit out and I'm not going to keep speaking.
That's fine, you got the crowd going. So for my project I did, I'm not sure if it is up there, but I covered clubbing and sort of the nightlife aspect. One of the things about clubbing is that the clubs are actually smaller than this building itself. So if you guys aren't familiar, a lot of them are underground and some of them are as wide as maybe half this room. And it's really packed with a lot of people in there. So the smell, if you guys smell, it'll show.
But it goes underground, so like it makes up inside, you know what I'm saying? It turns into
What's wrong with some information? So a lot of the food there as well, that was the other aspect I covered. A lot of food is cheap there. A lot of it was probably about 2 to 3 euros. For here it'll probably be like 4 to 5 bucks in conversion. So we all ate pretty good. So as far as the fashion I covered, a lot of the current trends we're not ready for, I'll just say that, because a lot of the popular thing right now is zippers, not just for the pants, it's zippers on hats, zippers on shirts, and
it's an age thing, so I understand that there's a big age difference in the crowd here tonight, so the zippers aren't really meant for like a lot of older folks, it's like a lot of club scene type of thing. But it was big zippers.
Yeah, style is a big thing over there, and yeah, you really gotta have it for some parts of it. And, so my experience overall, at first I wasn't sure what to expect from the class because I was new to this whole area for sure. So I was taken pretty good. A lot of people that treated me just as equal. So I was able to get along with people just fine. And then we went on a trip, we bonded really close. All the guys had their own apartments, all the girls had their own apartments. And the rooms are pretty small. They fit for 4 to 6 people. They can't work. It's 2 bedrooms. Somebody sleeps on the couch. They don't have a choice. So that part of it really wasn't that bad. The water was really good. I'll say that. The tap water, it's just like a drink water, filtered water. I would just call it drink water. So So the week that we went was Thanksgiving last year. We spent about a week up there. And so we were able to bond with Dr. Carter's, his other class in Paris. I don't know if you Okay, so he'll discuss that. I'm going to force him to discuss it. It was really good. So we were able to bond with French students that he was teaching for technology. And there was a lot of culture shock a little bit because the way we say things, like for instance, we like to hug as a greeting, some of you guys. Hugging to them is like if you're really in love. And that was for them, they were like, what? You're going to come down. And so we're just telling them, no, we hug in the sky. Like, no, don't do that. So we were trying to get used to it for a bit, and then they showed us their culture, and it was very eye-opening for me at least, because I didn't think they'd be like that. They're really nice people. Don't let the whole stereotype for you, but they're nice people.
So they asked me to talk about the food, which we ate a lot of, I'm sure. I think one of our favorite things were the little stands on the road, so like paninis and crepes. Like Francisco said, they were really cheap too, so I mean, as a college student, it was pretty affordable for us. But then too, like cafe culture is so huge there. Just like every single street, you can just sit down, have a 3-course meal, a lot of unique experiences. I know a few of the students that went on the trip wanted to try foods that were specific to Parisian culture, so like escargot, I don't know, what else? I think one of the best things too was learning how to order in French, because I don't speak French. Yeah, but that was a lot of fun too, because we found out that a lot of the Parisians that did run those businesses were the ones they like either spoke English or knew English pretty well, or were practicing also. So they were like really friendly and helping us like order correctly and appreciated us trying to speak to them.
We went on a lot of tours. I don't want to keep talking, but I can talk keep talking. Like we went on a lot of tours. We went on the tours in the museums. We went on a cuisine tour, and like we went around with this like they call them R&D's months. Not like districts or whatever, not like boroughs. They're called R&D's months, and he had. I don't know how you knew him, but they had the plug on like every. They had to connect on like all the good restaurants around where like they could get like he basically told them that he had a group of people that was coming for the tour, and they were going to show us all their favorite restaurants that they go to, the bakery and like their favorite cheeses and their favorite wines and stuff like that. We stopped at this one place where I'm not sure if he worked there or if she worked there. She worked there, right? We had like we all sat down and dined in, and like we had. I didn't pay for nothing. I paid through the program, but still, like the place that we were eating had to be like I don't know. It was 5-course meal. Like my chicken was like marinated in lemons, and it was all like I wish I could show y'all. Like for real. And then we had wine. We drank wine with everything. I don't know. I mean, y'all know it's big culture. The wine culture is big. Like I didn't drink no water. Unless when I got back to the house, and then that's when we drank water. But every time we went out, and we was with our teacher, so I thought it was bad, but it was okay. It was okay. It was. There was one time we tried to stop it. So, and we went on. This was the first time I got to see the Mona Lisa. I'm jumping from the cuisine over to like the museum tour. I went to the Louvre, and I don't know, has anyone like in this room ever been? I'm pretty sure someone in this room has been to Paris. Okay. Have y'all been to the Louvre Museum? So y'all know how big it is, right? Right? Okay, we couldn't see everything in there. You couldn't see everything in there. I was going to talk about what I saw, but before I talk about what I saw, I want to give you guys a chance to talk about, what y'all saw. Because everyone, when I got in there, I wanted to see, just Egyptian stuff. And I knew there was Pharaoh knitting. They had, it was like Pharaoh knitted exhibit. It was pronounced certain way. But that's what I wanted to go see. But before I get into that, like a teaser, I'm going to let them talk about the basics.
You got some words in it. Alright, so you'll notice some of the pictures. I'll talk a little bit about that for a bit. Some of them I took, but a lot of them are just the people who were there. So some of the graffiti, for example, if you guys didn't notice that, a lot of graffiti isn't meant to be like territory related, like game related. That's a problem that we have here. A lot of it's just more of expression of art. So you'll see like a little cat a couple pictures ago. That wasn't trying to be anything negative. They're just displaying it in their way. So, and here we have the Napoleon. That's Napoleon's capsule. I know, I love, yeah, Patricia. She's actually part of the team. She just doesn't, for some reason, she's shy.
She's a little camera shy, even though there's no camera.
I'll just keep it short. I'll keep it short so she can be able to say it. So anyway, so back to the art. If you guys haven't seen the Mona Lisa, it's really secured. It's probably the most secured painting in that entire building. Because it's not just the thick mirror, it's also like trick wires and little lasers. They're really secure about that one photo. And then also there's some people there that will imitate, and when they imitate that, they'll take their own little what do you call it, easel, and they'll replicate their own, which you are allowed to do over there. You just can't flat out take the photo and call it yours. But you are allowed to make your own using that as your what was that? So this, I think this was Angelique's that we went to. It was a little, that's Angelique? That's that. So yeah, the restaurant is a little bit more pricey in terms of that, but it's really good. Really is. We all chip in a lot of that. You'll notice how small the roads are. That's just they're used to the really small like smart car stuff. And you'll notice a lot of the two girls in the same photo because they dominated the photo.
They're not here right now. They were the last ones to upload their photos, so.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't hear me, they said that they uploaded a lot of the photos, so they're the recent photos. So if you see them a lot, it's just the way the Flickr does the photos. All right, let me get Patricia here. Would you like to say a couple words? I guess you can see. So back to the photos. Can you guys, I have to touch on that a little bit. It is really beautiful. Those of you guys that don't believe so, it is. For some reason, it's really big. The day we went though, I was kind of sad. It was actually raining that day. So the very top of that tower, it was so cloudy you could not see under it. So the pictures came out too bad. So that's why if you guys are curious about that, there isn't really too much photos of that because it was raining that day. And then that's the panini right there that she's holding. It's like €2. And then that's sorry. The elevators are also really, really small. They're probably about maybe as wide as this table right here behind us. They didn't change it since World War II, I believe. Some of you guys know about that. So a lot of their technology is considered old, but it's still reliable. So they use it for the.
Okay, so we're gonna walk around soon because we don't have the adapters of course to show them on the screen. But we're gonna walk around and show some of the augments that we created. And so the one that I worked on was for Shakespeare and Company bookstore. And so you'll get to see like the video that I mentioned of Jim Morrell. He's supposed to be Richard Wright, and then we have another person that went on the trip with us who is James Baldwin. And so the augments are supposed to be where if you are in Paris, you can scan called a trigger image. So my trigger image is the door to the bookstore. And so if you scan the door to the bookstore, this augment will show up on your phone. And so we're just going to walk around and show you an example of that.
Okay, so while we're doing that, I'd like to talk a little bit about the augmented reality application that they use. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and just bring that up real quick. Excuse me. Okay, we'll just go back here and stop this. We're going to go to daiquiri.com. Now, daiquiri.com is the application that we chose to use for a variety of reasons. First of all, as I mentioned before, the application layer that we used last year incorporated a pricing structure. We didn't really feel like paying for things that we knew we could get for free. Daiquiri is one of the several free augmented reality creation tools that you can create free applications for, and they come with a WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get window, a very user-friendly window that allows you to create augments. Now, creating an augmented reality experience is literally a 3-step process. The first step is that you must have something that you want to use as an augment. Some sort of video image, some sort of textual image, or some sort of text rather, a link to a website, a Twitter feed, maybe a video file, an audio file, whatever you want to use as an overlay, you have to have that somewhere on a streaming media site, or in this case, you can upload it to the server. The second thing you have to have is, if you're going to use trigger or image-based recognition, you gotta have an image of some sort. Once you have that image, you then import both of those into some sort of augmented reality creation tool and tell it what to do. So, okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in real quick. Alright, so here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so creating an augmented reality experience is literally a 3-step process. The first thing that you have to do is, after you've created an account on an application like Daiquiri, you simply then design your trigger image, you open up the designer, and you incorporate the various aspects that you want to have augmented. So on this particular augment, if we were to scan that trigger image, we would then see a video of this particular individual performing on top of that image. And at some point, if you download the Daiquiri application, I can send you that particular image if you like. But augmented reality has been a way that we have definitely been able to enhance the experience of our students. You want to come back and log into your tab? we had our students do was to create a digital story of their experience. And of course, digital storytelling applications are a dime a dozen nowadays. You can create digital stories in various applications to include PowerPoint. But we had students using mobile devices in order to do this, and TAC is one of those choices that they had. So Francisco is going to show us his, and if you can get one to play, that would be fantastic. So let's try and get it. Other choices that students had were an application called Storehouse, which is an amazing application, as well as one called, where are they? Yeah, they use another one. Google Plus actually puts your images into a very interesting digital storytelling format automatically for you. The last one that they use is one called Magistro. Okay, so let's check out Francisco's. Okay, let's go ahead and start that.
Alright, so we're at the I'm not sure how to say it. But it's open mic night right now, so we're gonna check it out, see how hopefully there's a lot of jazz going on. I think the culture that I've seen so far in the little street edition that I heard, I think it's gonna be pretty I wouldn't say a full-on band, but I think there's gonna be a couple of jazz pieces in there and some other good stuff, so let's go check it out.
I just want to say just a comment real quick. This is my project I was telling you guys earlier about the nightclub scene. Got with me. The first guy in the video, his name is Andre, who cannot be here tonight with us, but he was my partner for this. As well as Allison, who also cannot be here tonight. She's mentioned the second video. So the first video was the first club that we went to. It was like a Tuesday night we were there. And it was really small. As I was describing earlier how small the room was, that's what the size of it. And the second video right here will be the band that was there that night. It's going to be like a short 30-second video, or 17. Yeah, so a lot of their thing is they like to do covers, tributes. The night that we were there that Tuesday, it was a cover night. So a lot of songs that we were familiar with, we were okay by. And then if you want to see this video of me, I really don't want to see it. I'm pretty sure the guys here are out there. This is the review after the video. So this is probably about 1 o'clock. I'll just turn around and you guys see.
Alright, so we just left the club right now with the open mic night here. It's pretty packed in there, we're sweating like crazy. The music was really good, I thought. Just came there for about 10 minutes. Came there about 10 minutes, so it was really good music. I hope to go back. And the saxophone guy, man, yeah, you missed that saxophone there, he was there, he was really nice. So that's the end of this one. Nice to meet you.
That's my friend Andre not knowing how to work a camera the last couple seconds. So if you guys didn't hear that, I was trying to describe how the concert was. The saxophone guy, the video that wasn't shown, I didn't get a chance to upload it, but he did a little saxophone solo. So that's what I mean by that. Check out the saxophone guy. And then, so moving on to the next one. The next club that we went to was called, perfectly named Student Bar. Where the college they have, the University of Paris, this is their known hangout spot. This is like their U of A to this place. I hope I have video for it. So, can you guys see the screen? Is it too small? Do I have it here? There's some text there. I don't know if you guys got it. Okay. So this is described, this place has cheap alcohol. So So naturally, everybody wants to go there. This is the room size I was telling you about early on in the presentation. It's really small. And the guy that's stretching his arms out, his name is Jafar. He was one of the students that we met there. If you take like 5 of him, that's how wide that area is. It's really accurate. Yeah, like it's every student. That's probably the best. So the last club I'll just touch on is called the Violon Bean. This is how they tell me that it's the dirty violin, or crazy violin is what it's called in English. This is also a popular student nightclub that they have over there. This is probably their 3rd most popular, but it does have the most expensive alcohol. That's why it's in like that. So don't let this picture trip you out. It's actually downstairs. Some of you guys might freak out here. Actually, I was down at the bottom. That's actually the top. But it's the way I took that photo. So the entrance to that, if I go back, the entrance, think of it like the room we're in now. And pretend like the side over here where the food room is, that's where the entrance to the underground part, the dance floor part of the tavern is. The dance floor is also probably about this size. They play a lot of current music, so it goes for a lot of people. And so the week we were there, we also had a Christmas market. That's what they called it. It's just preparation for Christmas, just like how we do here, where we're celebrating Christmas far ahead of Thanksgiving. So we've had that, which is but it looks like the Pima County Fairgrounds. If you put it in the street, that's probably the best way I would describe it to make sense. That is the end of my thing. If anybody else, any of the other students that they have there, they're welcome to show theirs.
All right, thank you very, very much. Let's give our students a hand, please. All right, so as I mentioned before, I do apologize for not being able to actually show these augments up here. It would have taken a lightning to VGA cable, which we do not have, that we would be able to then show what's on our mobile devices up here. But as I mentioned before, augmented reality has now become a reality for all of us. We can download various applications for our mobile devices or for our tablets, and we can create augmented reality in these kinds of programs like Daiquiri very, very easily. It's literally 3 steps, and it's all menu driven. So as you can see here, we can incorporate things like video files and YouTube files and GIFs and rotating slideshows, all those kinds of things. This is how marketers are, of course, using this particular technology. But now imagine being able to take something like this for education. One of our students, for those of you that have maybe seen Michelle's augmented reality, it's amazing. And the enhancement to the augmented reality that you've seen here is a project that a few of our students had a chance to work on using green screen technology. Now what we wanted to do here was actually have the students embody historic figures. And we got the help of Mike Griffin over in the education program. Some of you might know Mike, he's amazing, right? And so he helped us set up a green screen with the proper lighting, and we were able to film students wearing time period clothing, or wearing period clothing. They were able to get those costumes locally, and we were then able to, of course, record them in front of that green screen. Now, as Michelle is going around and she'll show that, you'll see that we could then erase that green just like a weather person does and insert those individual students in various locations in Paris. And we were able to do that with her wearing one of the shimmering outfits, you know, one of those, as well as a couple of our students portraying figures like Langston Hughes and Richard Wright on a chance meeting that they, of course, fictionally may have had in front of his favorite restaurant called Le Tournant. So we were able to do some really cool things with that, and next year we plan to enhance that even more with 3D models. We tried it this year, but we had some problems with one of the textures on those models. So you can imagine how, as a tourist, you're able to go around and see these locations that have been augmented and not only view the projects of students, but in some cases, depending on the application you use, you can leave your mark there without having to resort to something like graffiti or something that's permanent. The augment that's going to be floating here will be here for about a month, I believe. Then it will automatically disappear. But download the application called Traces. traces.io for your iOS device, and install that. And when you come back here, just launch that and hold it up. It'll tell you what direction to point it, and you'll see a little bubble floating in the middle of the air, okay? So think about how you might not only incorporate augmented reality, but this is reimagining messaging. How you can, this whole idea of impermanent messaging applications. Come on, you guys know you have Snapchat. You have some of these messaging applications that are impermanent. Well, this is the same thing, except it brings it to a more visual sense and geolocates it, as opposed to sending something that could get you in trouble one day. Okay? So that's the project that we did with our students. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me or any of them that are floating around, or we can maybe entertain a few questions now before we end for the night, okay? So if you have any questions, we can bring the mic around to you, and we can answer those very quickly. Questions at all about what we're doing?
So did you like us?
Yes.
So, does that mean like go to Paris and have put my phone around and see things that you guys have done? Okay, and anybody else too? Oh, so it could be anywhere.
There's a caveat there. For those of you that didn't hear that question, does that mean that with the Daiquiri application installed, can I go to Paris and see some of the things that the students have done? Well, the short answer to that is yes, of course you can. However, you'll need to know what's been augmented. And if nothing has a marker or an obvious sign that it has been augmented, you would never know. Just like you don't know that that ball is floating up there. I can kind of see it. No, you don't know that ball is floating up there. But someone with the proper application and the general location could probably hold their phone up and oh, look at that, and you'd see something. So yes and no. Okay. Oh, I see one other person with a question, yes.
So, just to be clear, the students of this class were doing this for themselves? I mean, who had access to the augmented they were doing?
That's an excellent question. We were working with a tour company called Walking the Spirit Tours. My friend Julia Brown owns that company. She's the owner of the first African American tour company or African American oriented tour company in Paris. She studied under Michel Favre, that used to work at the Sorbonne years ago, who wrote the seminal text on African American expatriates in Paris rather. So she studied under him, and as she was walking around and taking some of her friends around Paris, she discovered, hey, I can maybe make a living at this, right? So I met her at a soiree a number of years ago, and we started talking. I said, I got this really cool idea about how students might be able to, augment historic locations in Paris. Would you like to work with us on that? And so she said, yeah, sure. So as part of my student projects, we then give her access to that so she can evaluate it with real tourists and then give us feedback. The one thing we had to keep in mind was that the tourists had to be connected. They had to have some sort of wireless access in order to see the augments, which are, of course, in the cloud and attached to an image. So Julia had to end up renting, as I usually do, renting these little devices called MiFis, from a company called XCOM Global. I'll tell you exactly how I do it. That gives you unlimited Wi-Fi or unlimited data while you're overseas for a rental price. It's really kind of cool. You don't have to worry about burning up your data minutes for your cell device. Anyway, she had, all of her clients had one of those, and they were able to see those augments successfully. Based on last year's feedback, we were able to make adjustments and make the augment shorter, as well as incorporate this thing called green screening to make it a bit more interesting and interactive for people. It can hold it up. How many of you saw the, what's that movie where the thing is the log and it can talk, or the tree and it can talk? Not Lord of the Rings, no, it's a tree and they were in space. Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, so you guys remember Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Now, at the very beginning, when he holds this device up and he can see all these people that are no longer there, he can see them walking in front of this device like a ghost. That's That's augmented reality. And that's what these students did that dressed in period clothing. When they scanned a doorway, you could actually see Richard Bryan and Langston Hughes having a conversation there dressed in period clothing, and then they walk off. Or you can see Michelle dancing, and then she danced. It was amazing. So we had a great time doing that. So yes, we had those things in front of work for the company. Okay? All right, is that the last question?
Oh, question back again.
I'm not trying to downplay the technology augment, as I know it, because I'm a Navy veteran. I dealt with augmentation in the early. Anyway, doesn't this step up to the line or cross the line as far as recognizing people, as far as invasion of privacy?
Okay, good question.
All right, what you're talking about is recognition, I think. And I think there's a difference between augmentation and image recognition with regards to, say, someone's face. Now, yes, you could augment someone's face if I were to take a trigger image of your face, but then someone would have to have that exact trigger image in order to see the augment. That's the way augmentation works, is that the image has to be recognized. So in other words, if I had just a picture of her face, but yet someone saw her in another setting with different clothes on, a different hairstyle, the augment would not show up because it doesn't recognize that entire image. But yes, I couldn't agree with you more, because what you're also referring to perhaps are the perhaps Google Glass-like devices that have image recognition well, they don't have it, but there was a download where you could get it. But anyway, you can get image recognition in the camera, so it recognizes images, and then it can perhaps pull up social media information and other information about that person right in the wearer's field of view. Okay, those were made difficult to obtain by Google because they recognize the privacy invasion. But that's not the same thing that we're talking about here with regards to augmenting and enhancing, so to speak. Okay? But yes, I do see what you're talking about. All right, I think we're about out of time, but if any of you have any questions later on, you can contact me through the Africana Studies program. I do want to thank the students that are here that assisted. Thank you guys so very much. Really appreciate it. Thank you all for your patience with our technical difficulties. Next time, I promise to have those cables, okay? But if you do want to see something that we're doing, we'll most likely be doing something like this again at the African American Student Association, and we can make a general announcement through Confluence when that's going to be taking place, and you're more than welcome to come to that one. As I mentioned before, this class is one that's going to be taught again in the fall semester. This spring, we're actually taking students to both Paris and Berlin. It's going to be an amazing trip. Only 6 are going this time, but in the spring, hopefully, we'll be able to take another 15 to 20 or so with us to Paris and experience some of the same things with additional augmented projects that they'll be working on while they're there. Okay? Thank you guys very, very much for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Drive safely.